Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable week up until this point, man. I know that I haven't been here consistently in the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on the good side, a lot going on. I'm excited about. Um, on the business side, it is definitely great. We got some new things coming with Master Fit, with a bunch of things that's associated with Rick Wallace Enterprises, including the Visionetics Institute, Master Fitness 21, the Financial Brain Trust, and a couple of others. So get ready for all of that. I got exciting news on the personal side that I can't wait to share. Um, but again, want to come in now. We're going to get back on track. We're going to get the information and the content that you need in the morning to get you started, as well as to prepare you to make the moves and the changes that you want to make in your life. So, look, today is going to be real brief. I'm going to get right to it. Look, as always, if you want resources associated with the content that you're reading, look in the description box. Today, there's an opportunity to work with me, increasingly rare because of all the other things that I'm engaging in. I'm taking fewer one-on-one sessions, but those are the most successful. They're just time consuming and unrealistic for the scaling project that we have going on. But I do have a couple of slots and I do want to work with you. There's an opportunity to do that. There's also an opportunity to take advantage of this unbelievable, powerful course, The Mind Unleashed. I created it years ago. I vamped it up a couple of years ago to be even more powerful. And you can access that and you can learn how I help people transform their thinking, which transforms their life. So let's talk about this thinking thing for a minute. Um, I often say that you have to guard your self talk because your self talk becomes the program that your brain will run. And what do I mean by that? Your brain is the most powerful supercomputer on the planet, has the ability to process billion bits of information per second. It literally is processing things around you that you aren't even aware of on the subconscious level. And it is the subconscious mind in this program state that is the catalyst of your behavior. 96% of your behavior, 96% of your decision making is actually done at a subconscious level. It's not a conscious choice. It is simply an instinctively habitual decision choice behavior based on the programming of your subconscious and your unconscious mind. So then your subconscious mind, your unconscious brain. So what does that mean? That means that you are constantly sending messages, neurological information that create or either reinforce neural pathways. These neural pathways become interconnected because the brain automatically categorizes information. So you may have something that you're dealing with here, but it's in some way related to something you dealt with 10 years ago. Your brain will find that connection, make it, and now there's this conjoined process. So anytime you engage something, your brain within a split second can make a categorical comparison to something you've experienced in the past, some belief you currently hold, and you will behave accordingly. And so what you have to understand is that works at a highly complex and uh, dynamic. And so, what you have to understand is that what you feed your mind is giving it a sense of priority in what you are housing in your brain. And so, when you talk, that's one of the most powerful ways you affirm. If we look and we want to take a biblical look at it, sort of, so to speak, you look at it and it says that there's power and death in the life of the tongue. It says you shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you. It says cast down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. It's constantly guarding you in what you speak. Why? Because what you speak literally plant seeds. Your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. And when you speak, you impart upon in the entire energy force and field around you what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and that returns to you. And when you sit up and you look as you speak about yourself, whether you're talking about a situation to yourself, man, this is messed up, but whatever, you are speaking to yourself. I remember, man, 30 years ago now, time goes, but I was in my 20s And I remember I was coming off of this unbelievable successful run, especially to be as young as I was. I was really just, I was on it. And I lost my great grandfather, who was my adopted father, the man that set the standard and the stage and everything for I that I ultimately set out to become. I lost him at 25, and my world just went into a tailspin emotionally. And I started to look at things from a dark perspective. And without realizing it, I changed some of the things that I would say. And all of a sudden, things that were coming to me easy were no longer coming to me easy. It was, everything was a challenge. Everything was a disruption. Everything was going wrong. And I couldn't figure it out. And I called my mentor, and I was sitting down talking to him. And about 15, maybe 20 minutes into the conversation, he says, I already know what's wrong. And I'm like, man, I haven't even got too close to telling you what's going on. How can you possibly know what's wrong? He says, man, we've been on the phone for like 15 minutes, and you've already said I can't win for losing 4 times. He says, you got to be careful of what you say about yourself. When you declare it, it becomes a part of your reality, and then it begins to take hold. And the more you repeat it, the more powerful the neural pathways of this new idea is. Now, the beautiful thing is there are some old limiting beliefs in your mind because of some of the self-talk that you've done. And then some of the things that people have spoken into your life that you did not reject. Like you just heard me sort of quote a part of Second Corinthians chapter 10, excuse me, verse 3. But there's another part of it. And the basis of the scripture says, look, it says that though we walk in the flesh, what? We do not war according to the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are what? Carnal, are not carnal, they're mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds. In other words, the things that you're going to use to overcome these things aren't the tangible things you touch. It isn't the things that you think. It is the power that resides within you. It's an energy. It's a spiritual force. It's the ability to use your thoughts to move the matter around you. That's what faith is. It is literally saying, I believe something so much that I'm going to move toward it. And the energy that I create in this faith, because if I believe something good is going to happen, it means what? That outside of what I can see with my eyes, that's still another level of anticipation and expectation. Because what? Faith is the substance of what? Things. Faith is the substance of faith is the substance of things unseen and the evidence of things. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. I'm moving crazy today. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Evidence of things not seen. The evidence of things not seen. So if you can reason with it in your mind, it doesn't require faith. If you can see it and you can do 1 + 1 and get 2, it doesn't require faith. It requires execution. Faith is that thing when you look at it and you say, I know I'm supposed to have it. I know I'm supposed to do it. I know I'm supposed to receive it. I know I'm supposed to walk in it, but you don't know how. That hasn't been revealed yet, but you know it. And so you step into it. You step into the darkness without seeing where you're stepping. See, that's faith. Well, see, it says that we walk, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh, because our weapons of warfare are not carnal. They're mighty in God for what? Pulling down strongholds. Then it tells you what? Casting down arguments. See, that's what the old folks used to do. They used to say, I rebuke that. They didn't just say it in their minds, in their thoughts, I'm not receiving what they're saying. They openly spoke out against someone that was speaking something into their lives that they did not want to receive. They openly took their personal sovereignty and determined what they were going to allow in their lives. And so they stood up and said, I rebuke that. But so then what? Not only do you have to guard your self-talk, you got to make sure you have people in your circle that are not speaking death on your dreams, death on your aspirations, death on your hopes. You got to be careful that you don't have someone in your circle that you call a friend that's whispering the sweet nothings of negativity into your mind. You got to be careful because the subconscious is listening. Your gates are open, and what you put into your gates you have 70,000 thoughts per day moving beneath the surface that you aren't even consciously aware of, that are influencing your decisions. But you get to control what your subconscious does by what you focus on. That's why it's so important to guard your self-talk. That's why it's so important to make sure that you are aware of what it is that you're putting into your gates, and you guard it with all diligence. And then the end of that particular segment of Second Corinthians says, and then it says, after it says, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge, it says, bringing every what? Thought into captivity. How are you managing your thinking? What are you literally doing? That's why meditation is so powerful. That's why affirmations are so powerful. That's why vision boards are so powerful, because they all move beyond the conscious. That's why willpower is never the force that changes things. That's why you can't will yourself out of addiction. That's why you can't will yourself out of bad decisions, because it's happening from a subconscious state. And the conscious mind that can only process about 2,000 bits of information per second is being overwhelmed by the subconscious that can process billions. And there's the problem. 95 to 96% of what you're doing is happening from what's underneath. And you got to be careful on how you're programming and how you're reinforcing it. The beautiful thing I love about this dynamic between spiritual energy and the biological and neurobiological spiritual dynamic and connection and conglomerate representation of our existence is that there's this thing called neuroplasticity, meaning that I can literally create new neural pathways and create a new idea. And then when the new idea is opposing an old idea, a limiting belief from the past, old way of thinking that doesn't work for me anymore, or maybe never worked for me, but I'm replacing it with a new idea. Yes, I can. This is what's going to happen. And it's contrary. What happens is the one I give the most attention to is the one that hypertrophies, the one that grows. And then the other ones, as time goes and it doesn't get any attention, it doesn't get any reinforcement, it atrophies, it gets smaller, and it moves to the back, and it eventually becomes overwhelmed and it dissipates. But what you got to understand, you create this thinking. In my 19th book, no, my 21st book, I take that. In my 21st book, I am. The entire book is about the power of speaking. I believe that I am are the two most powerful words in the English lexicon, because whatever follows sets the course of what you will become. What you are speaking is ultimately what did Eliphaz tell Job? He says, you shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you, and that it will cause light to shine upon your path. You are determining the moves and the directions you're going by what you're declaring in your life. Stop saying I can't. Stop saying I'm broke. Stop saying I'll never be in love. I'll never love. Stop saying I'll never have that career. I'll never start a business. Stop saying what you can't do and start embracing the possibilities of what faith can produce, and start to understand that there are no impossibilities. Everything that you're experiencing now in the way of technology, in the way of convenience, was once considered impossible. Can you imagine what the people were thinking when Orville and Wilbur says we're going to make something that we can literally take off the ground and fly around in? And they were telling them, you're out of your freaking mind. And now we jump on planes without a second thought because somebody decided to challenge what was possible. Can you imagine what Alexander Graham Bell heard when he said, I'm going to create a device that will carry sound through wires, and you will be able to pick up something and press a couple of buttons, and an operator will plug you in to who you want to talk to another line, and the phone will ring and they will pick up and you will talk to somebody in a different city. Alexander, you're out of your mind. Now we don't even have the wires anymore. Do you imagine who when the first person that came up with video conferencing? And they sit up and say, you can't have somebody in Houston talking to somebody in Sweden in real time. That's absolutely impossible. And here we are right now today, and it's happening as I sit up here and speak to you because somebody decided to challenge impossible is an idea. It's not real. It's a notion. But if you feed it, it becomes a powerful force in your life. But if you starve it and you start to talk about what you can do, even if you don't know how. I love what Les Brown says. He says that when you're deciding you're going to do something that you've never done before, when you're deciding you're going to elevate yourself and do the impossible, when you're deciding you're going to enter into a space that you've never touched, how you're going to do it is none of your business. And the person will simply say, well, if I don't know how I'm going to do it. See, the problem is we're too busy consulting our past for permission to move into our future and do the things we've never done. And the past only has what it's experienced. The past can only tell you what you've already done. The past cannot give you the answer to the equation that you're trying to solve in front of you. That's going to come from your willingness to search out the universe, to seek God, to seek all the knowledge and the ideas that are literally floating around in the ether, waiting on you to reach out and touch it. There are thoughts that cross your mind, you dismiss them because in your mind, that can't be possible for me. There are urgings that are coming and you are literally pushing them to the side because you don't have a blueprint for it yet. When you are determined to do something, you got to take the first step. And that's when providence opens up. That's when you start to get answers. That's when you start to get guidance. That's when you start to get illumination. A lot of people are sitting back waiting on an answer that will only come once they move. But it all comes back. How are you talking to yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? Are you speaking in a loving way? Are you talking about what's possible? Are you giving yourself grace? Or are you letting the judgment of others take over your mindset? And now you've become the most judgmental of all when it comes to you. Yes, hold yourself accountable. Yes, challenge yourself to do better. Yes, become intentional in your growth. But whatever you do, be kind to yourself. Speak highly of yourself. Love on yourself. When nobody else believes in you, you better believe. Because here's the beauty of this thing that we call life. It's great to have somebody affirm something that you're thinking. It's great to have somebody talk about how awesome you are. It's great to have somebody see the gifting that you possess. It's great to have that. But see, the beauty of this thing is the only person that's required to believe in your destiny in order for it to come true is you. That's the only one that has to believe is you. Now, once you start to believe, this thing starts to happen. You start to move toward it, and the universe starts to conspire with you to bring the things that you are seeking towards you. You're moving toward it. It's moving towards you. And the more you see things start to unfold, the more confidence you get. Now, this is where it gets real interesting. The very people that were doubting you start to sense a new energy that they cannot understand. It's confidence. Confidence gets people's attention. Some of them are going to start to tell you you're being arrogant because they don't understand it. And the easiest thing to do when you sense confidence and you're not comfortable with it being around you is to call it arrogance. Try to shame it down to a comfortable level. But you keep walking in what you're built in. You keep walking in what you're believing about your future. You keep walking in what you know is going to happen in your life because you trust the vision. I've manifested everything from businesses to money to houses to speaking on certain stages and lecturing on things that I never even thought were real as a kid. I've manifested love. I am telling you that you're going to get some difficult moments. You're going to get some disappointments. You're going to get some frustrations. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to experience delay. But let me tell you something. Delay is not denial. And what I love about delay is delay challenges your idea about the construct of time. Delay makes you move into a space where you start to understand that I can literally transcend time when I move in the way that God designed me to move. That when I experience a delay, I'm not losing time. I'm building something that's going to come to me at a later time in a greater increment, it's going to be more greater than I anticipated. If I thought I would get it in a year and it takes me 5, what I get 5 years from now is not what I was expecting in 1 year. It's 5 times to 10 times more because it's rewarding me for my resilience. It's rewarding me for my commitment. It's rewarding me for not quitting. It's rewarding me for standing up and believing in something when everybody else stood up and said, it's time to let it go. I'm telling you, some of the greatest things came when everybody else gave up, but I refuse to quit. I want you to understand that there's something in your life right now that you need to be speaking. I'm telling you from someone who speaks. I'm telling you from someone who speaks. I see the circumstances, and sometimes the circumstances aren't what you want them to be. Sometimes the circumstances don't look like the dream. Sometimes the circumstances are telling you, what are you thinking you're doing? Well, who told you you could do that? What makes you think you deserve that? But I've seen the circumstances, but I'm already walking in the vision. That's why people get confused if they don't understand how I move when they're around me, because they'll see the circumstance and wonder why I'm not crying. They'll see the circumstance and wonder why I'm not folded over in a ball and giving up. That what they don't understand is I've already moved past that. I'm walking in the destiny. I'm walking in the vision beyond it. I'm already experiencing what you can't see. That's why I recognize it when it gets there. I don't mind taking lumps and bruises to have what God has destined me to have. I don't mind waiting a little longer for something that's exactly what I need. I don't mind sitting around and moving in a way that people don't understand and call you foolish, call you stupid, call you crazy, but then wonder why they can't have what you have and why they can't do what you do, because they're not willing to work like you work, believe like you believe, stand like you stand, hold like you hold. What I want you to understand is it's time to start talking nice to yourself. It's time to start talking nice to yourself. Claim it. Claim that love, claim that life, claim that new career, claim that new job, claim that new home, claim that new financial situation. Where you are at right now is not where you're going to be a year from now. Make that a declaration. Then every day wake up and become something you weren't yesterday. Read a book, read a chapter in a book. Study, watch a video, sign up for a life coach, sign up for a therapist if you need healing. Get the work done, because if you make up in your mind that you're going to be somebody better today than you were yesterday, and you do that every day, I guarantee you 365 days from now, nobody will recognize you, not even you. I'm telling you, I do it every day. I wake up. There is a commitment to be a better man when I go to bed than the man that woke up. There's a commitment. I've got to learn something. I got to help somebody. I've got to do some things that grow me. I got to stretch myself. Most people don't want to stretch themselves. Nobody wants to get outside of the comfort zone, but see, that's where the magic happens. That's where the things that people can't explain happens. When you get outside of the comfort zone, when you start to trust the pull of your soul telling you this is the one. When you feel your soul telling you this is the place. When you feel your soul telling you now is the time. Yeah, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable. Yeah, you may get a little anxious, but understand, be anxious for nothing, but everything in prayer and supplication, make your request known unto God, and the peace which surpasses all understanding will guard your what? Hearts and minds. You got to understand that when you truly start to trust your destiny, stress levels drop. Blood pressure goes down. Arteries relax. All of a sudden, that stuff you were struggling with that the doctors got you on 5 pills for, you're no longer taking them. Why? Because you're now walking in the purity of who you were designed to be. You're no longer trying to fill shoes you don't belong in. You're walking and creating your own path because you were meant to be unique. You were meant to touch the world in a way that it has never been touched before. I'm challenging you to talk nice to yourself. When I work with my clients, it's about reconstructing everything from how they see themselves, their self-image, their self-concept. Because if I can reconstruct that, I can change their self-esteem and their self-confidence. If I can change that, I can change their willingness to touch things that they've never touched before, without the fear of failure, without the fear of falling, without the fear of criticism, because now they're starting to believe things that they once didn't believe, because now they see themselves different. They see themselves in the light of being a creation of God. Oh man, you don't understand what you're missing. You're walking around. I can't remember who said it, but they said that the sad part, one of the saddest truths about life in this world is that everybody's born unique, but most people die carbon copies. I made my mind up a long time ago. I wasn't trying to feel anybody else's expectations of me. Not my parents, not the world. I wasn't going to move how people thought I should move. I wasn't going to operate how people, I was going to do what I believed I was put here to do. And I was going to do it in a vein where I felt most alive. So, I didn't fit the stereotypical PhD. I didn't fit the stereotypical businessman. I'm walking around 9 times out of 10 in a t-shirt and a cap, or a hoodie and a cap. But the blessings that I carry in my spirit, the brilliance I carry in my mind, you can't challenge it. God said it there, and I took it and I walked with it, and nobody can't take that away from me. You might not want me in your room, but I guarantee you by the time I'm finishing, you're asking me to come back. That's the power of having to go. One thing that my mentor taught me a long time ago, because he saw that I was not a part of the status quo ideology, that I moved on by my own beat, sometimes to my detriment. And he told me, you're trying to get into spaces where they're going to demand things of you you're not willing to do. You're walking around with tattoos, you got earrings in your ear, you always got a cap and a t-shirt on, but you want to be a businessman. You want to sit in boardrooms. And he was talking to him, and I was going like, what are you about to say to me? Because we used to go at it. And he said, but I'm going to tell you something. I love your spirit. I love the fact that you hold on to who you are. And he says, there's one hope for you if you want to walk in those spaces. And I said, what's that? He said, he who has the goal makes the rules. You get what they need and you deliver it in a way that nobody else but you can deliver it. They won't care what you're wearing. They won't care about the color of your skin. They want you to do what you do, and what you do better than anybody else. When you do that, you will be able to move in spaces that you didn't even think were possible. And so it's about getting the goal, not to lord it over anybody, but when you're walking in your vision, when you're walking in your dream, when you are exploiting your gift, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean literally tapping into it and living in it. They say the gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. Well, what does it mean? It means that there's something planted in every last one of us, that when we access it and we walk in it and we move in it, it does something. And it opens doors. That's the challenge that I'm trying to get you to see. You've got something inside of you God planted there. And ain't nothing in this world can stop it but you. So then you got to determine, what are you going to do? Look, that's it. I'm going to get out here. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I want to really and truly invite you to be a blessing to yourself, so that you can become a blessing to others. Love yourself, talk to yourself well. Don't forget to look in the description box. Again, I'm looking for a few people that I can work with directly, but I also have created this unbelievable course that will definitely walk you down the path of restructuring your thinking and changing your direction. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day.